welcome to Honestly Rated, and today we'll be talking about your favorite thumb exploder, Stormblade. I haven't done a supercharger in a while, so why not break that streak with Stormblade? Somebody I remember seeing a couple times in my comments, and a couple times recently, so she seems like the perfect fit. Oh, I also want to flex this Snow Bright Stormblade I have too, because if I paid good money for this bad boy, I think I deserve to flex it just a little bit. So let's take a look at Stormblade, her overall moves and design to really see if Stormblade was honestly ever any good. But before we go into the gameplay, let me give you Stormblade's lore. When Stormblade was young, she wanted to push the boundaries of Skylands and see if there was ever an end to any of it. At this same age, she took a leap off of her island to go see if there was a bottom to Skylands, which there wasn't because she just, I guess, kept falling. Later on, she built her own ship, the Sky Slicer, if she could race to the ends of Skylands. But again, nothing was there. So the only way she was going to be able to get these answers was going to Master Eon. When Eon saw Stormblade, he instantly knew that she was someone that needed to be on their side. So he asked her to become a Skylander, and she would be part of a mission that would take her through the rift between worlds. Now with the lore out the way, let's go take a look at Stormblade and see how well this little birdie can sing. Or something. Starting us off, we have the Feather Blade Throw and Steeled Winds. Remember in the beginning when I said that Stormblade was the thumb exploder? The reason I said that is that because her primary is something that is going to absolutely hurt your thumbs. Her primary is a really fast shooting primary that does only 12 damage. This forces you to use it a lot to kill anything. And sadly, her secondary doesn't really help with DPS that much. Her Steeled Winds is like a little dash she can do, which is kind of funny because I remember another type of bird having a somewhat similar dash, and they're also kind of blue. This dash does do 24 damage. The reason I say it's not going to really help with DPS that much is because with hit stop, it kind of fucks with the move. So if you're trying to run away from things, using it against an enemy will just kind of stop you. And sometimes when there's too many enemies, you'll just literally be paused in a single place, which makes you very acceptable to hits. And Stormblade is a character with very little health, so that is not a great thing to happen. So a lot of times you use this move just to run away, which keeps her very mobile, but again, 12 damage for any enemy takes a long time. Now, if you hold down that dash, you can do a little spin that does 12 damage, but that is so much more riskier, so just spamming your little daggers is a lot better to do. Another quick note I want to add is that if you do a jump and then you press your primary, just don't. It puts you in the air to be able to throw a couple blades out from the sky, but it letting you go back down and land or move is so long, you get hit so many times, and I fucking hate it. It is literally so buns, so please just avoid it at any cost. And I'll break the news right now. When I was trying to get footage for this video, the day after, my thumbs actually hurt like a lot. The amount of spamming you need to do with this character is fucking insane. So heed my warning. You better have some strong ass thumbs if you want to play this character. Because spoiler alert, when it comes to Stormblade's moves, things only get a little bit better. Next up, we have the Cyclone Surge and Storm Dive. I'm not afraid to say it, I believe that both of these moves are pretty buns. The Cyclone Surge is something that does 25 damage, but at a very close meter. This is very risky for someone like Stormblade, who has, again, 660 HP. Risking your life for 25 damage is not fun, but at the same time, I'm also risking my thumbs from imploding. So it's really pick your poison at this point. It's not a horrible move. I definitely think if you use it against like maybe enemies of like a cluster of 3, works out pretty well. But if you hit too many though, it has the same problem as your dash, where a lot of times the hit stop pauses you for so long that enemies are able to hit you before you can do anything else. But if you use it against a group of 2, maybe even 3, you will probably have enough time to use a dash to get out before any enemy hits you. Then when it comes to our Storm Dive, it has the same flaws as our daggers when in the air. The move itself just takes so long. Like, I don't see her doing anything that requires that amount of time to just sit in the sky. The move isn't totally useless though. Comparatively to our daggers, I think if you use this on like a single enemy, it works out pretty well. The reason being is that sometimes with your dash, you can hit for multiple times of 24. It seems like if you're further away from an enemy, the more times you can get this to happen repetitively. But if you do it in the sky, it is just a lot easier to get those 24 hits, which can definitely speed up the process of killing literally anything. But again, you run the risk of being stuck in the air and then enemies just hitting you. So much for the blitzing Stormblade, the person that wants to go real fast and find the end. I think I know why she can't, because everything she fucking does is just a little bit too slow, man. But to be fair, we're just at the beginning. Let's continue onwards and see what else we got. For the last thing on the primary, we have Fan of the Feathers and Feather Barrage. Now before we talk about the actual moves, let me just say, Stormblade is like the one character I can think of that doesn't have any type of damage increase in the primary path. Now I'm not saying she is the only one, but she feels like the only one I've ever looked at or at least acknowledged. So I find that that pretty cool, even though I feel like Stormblade is one of those characters that definitely should have had one. On the other hand, Fan of the Feathers is a pretty nice move. It allows our Cyclone to throw out little daggers each time we use it. Now the daggers for some reason do less damage and only do 10, but the nice thing is that it has spread damage, so we can hit multiple enemies at a single time. Stormblade's whole problem is with grouped enemies. For some reason her primary that shoots at a blitzing speed doesn't pierce enemies, so that means you're hitting one single target each time. With this, you can now hit a multitude of enemies, even if it's only for 10, a lot safer, and kill a lot more things a lot quicker. And you can still do that 25 if you get really close up to enemies. Overall, doing 35 damage if you want to play a little bit risky. It's a really nice move, and I think it increased my Cyclone usage a lot. But on the other hand, our Feather Barrage is something that is just horrible. Their usage of the word barrage should be criminally charged, because this is no barrage. This is like me shooting a water gun at enemies and saying I open fire. This is like the game telling me that they were gonna give me an army, and instead of an army, they gave me the green soldiers from Toy Story. It is just a really weak thing that does practically nothing. The way it works is that anytime you charge up your primary, you can now shoot a barrage of daggers. These daggers do 15 damage, but the main problem I have with it is that it lasts for so little time. It practically works for like 2 seconds, and then you have to charge it up again. The charge time on these things too is also very long. So if you had to weigh out the pro and cons between just your normal primary fire and the charge, the primary would probably do more damage over time comparatively for you charging your primary. And listen, I wish this move was good. Again, my fingers, they hurt, and having something to hold down and stop you from pressing the button so many times would be so nice. But like a 2-second barrage, which causes Stormblade to do just like a bunch of side steps, which in my opinion is kind of hard to aim, is just really not worth it. Not to mention you can't move either because she's doing all those side steps. So if you do it too close to enemies, you just get hit. Just stick to the Cyclone, stick to the primary, and honestly, just forget this move even existed. And if you don't, I'll do that thing that they did in Men in Black and flash you. Not like that. You know, like from the movie. Now we go on to the Wind Warrior path, where we have a Wind Wall and Sharpened Winds. Wind Warrior is going to be dealing with our dashes, and the first upgrade that we get is honestly pretty good. Wind Wall makes it so anytime we do our dash, projectiles will explode and not hit us. Now this might seem like a minor upgrade, but I can assure you, this is a pretty massive one. The reason being is that if you use your dashes well, you probably won't get hit by anything. But projectiles are like that wild card, where sometimes in a really chaotic fight, they just catch up to you somehow. And Stormblade is again, very weak. So making sure we can mitigate any type of damage is always nice. And I really do enjoy it. This also lets you bum rush like Sheep, the fucking spell punks. Anybody that's like really just that big of a nuisance gets absolutely corkscrewed in their ass because of Stormblade. But there is a catch with this upgrade. There are times where it won't protect you. The reason being is that if you're too close to an enemy when they shoot the projectile, it will hit you. My best guess is that this upgrade has a hitbox in the front and not the whole body. So if you're absolutely stuffing your face in the enemy before they shoot the projectile, there is a really good chance you'll get hit even if you're still doing the animation. So make sure you let them fire it before you do anything. Then we also have Sharpened Winds. Now if you couldn't get what this move does just by the name alone, it upgrades our little dash to just do a lot more damage. I believe it was doing 24 before, but now it does 30. And dashing is probably the best way to get the most damage off on enemies, and the safest, again if you use it well. And also if you do that little spin right after, it'll do 15 instead of 12. Overall, pretty great 2 upgrades. Then for the last move on this path, we have Downdraft. I honestly don't know a better upgrade to end this path than Downdraft. Downdraft makes it so anytime you use your dash, you will be able to apply slowness to any enemy you hit. This allows you to use that abysmal move of a barrage, get a bunch of free hits off with the primary, do another dash, do a jumping dash, jumping primary, literally anything you want to do because of this move. And it makes it really safe to just kind of waltz into a big group of enemies while using your dash, as everybody in there won't be able to do shit. I really don't think there's much else that needs to be said. Beautiful path with a lot of advantages. Now we go on to the Blade Dancer path, where we have Fist full of feathers and Storm Size. I'll rip the band-aid off when I say this. I definitely think this path is a lot worse than the top one, for obviously multiple reasons. The first one being Fistful of Feathers. Now, do I think the move itself is really that bad? No, not really. It's personally that I just hate the move it was given to. Instead of this upgrade being towards the barrage, which again sucks absolute massive.
And do you know what else is massive?
Donkey Wee Wee. It was given to the Airborne Primary, something that I personally don't like because of how long it keeps you in the air. What this allows us to do is that anytime we press the primary button 3 times in the air, it allows us to throw a fan of blades at any enemy. Now this is a spread shot, and it also does 22 damage. but that's also with the added fact that we have a damage upgrade that I'll talk about in a little bit. Now, I'm personally a fan of this spread damage. Just like I said with the Cyclone, which surprisingly doesn't get a damage upgrade even though there's literal blades coming out of it, spread damage helps Stormblade a lot just because killing a big group of enemies is very hard. But on the other hand, we also get a damage upgrade to our primary, and everything that has to do with daggers. Unless you're Cyclone, then you just get screwed over. Our primary now does 15 damage, which is not that much of an increase, and personally I think it should be a lot more. Just to make sure you have this drilled into your skull, your thumbs will fucking hurt. And to be honest, 15 damage really doesn't stop you from spamming how much you really need to. Our barrage now does 20 damage instead of the 15, so I guess that's kinda nice. I still think it's utter butt cheeks though. And overall, I definitely think the damage upgrade towards our dash was a lot better. And especially since that with the top upgrade, our dash would at least do 30. Now I'm not saying they had to do that with the primary, but maybe something like 18? Anything other than a 3-point gain would probably make me happy. Then for the last upgrade in this path, we have the Feather the Storm. Now on paper, this move seems like a really cool thing to have, because what this ability allows us to do is that anytime we spam Cyclone, we get to go into a tornado mode. This tornado mode does 40 damage on initial hit, and 15 if you continue to spam it. Now you move really slow during it, and it also kinda fucks up what Cyclone's supposed to be, at least for me. Before this upgrade, Cyclone is something that was easily spammable and very accessible to do a bunch of damage to a large group of enemies. You really can't spam Cyclone anymore without going into tornado form, which if you're low on HP is definitely really annoying. Now there are some benefits to going into tornado mode. With the initial hit, if you get up really close to somebody, it will knock them back. Now it's a really pitiful knockback. You're definitely not going to the Wizard of Oz because of it, but it's still a knockback nonetheless. And again, 40 damage is pretty great for Stormblade, but just like the problems I had with Cyclone in the beginning, it being really close and hit stop making it so you're kind of slow, this kind of suffers from the same thing. And also, I also just don't personally believe the 15 damage is really that great, because 15 damage can now be done with our primary hit, so why go in tornado mode and have to stand right next to enemies where they can hit you, than just staying really far back and spamming your lungs out. Again, it's not a bad move. It definitely takes away the usage that Cyclone used to have, and now your only way to really do a large spread of damage is by going slow with Cyclone, or using the primary, or using the new upgrade that we got in this path. Then for our soul gem, we have Feather Weather. If there's one thing I can say I really like about Stormblade, that is the soul gem. This soul gem allows us to go into the sky and pray to the dagger gods, absolutely smiting everybody below us, doing massive damage. Funny enough, these daggers actually do 16, which is more than our daggers that we shoot. Wouldn't that been nice? Nonetheless, again, it does a lot of damage. It makes you and it covers a really big margin of land. So if you really don't want to, you don't really have to use Cyclone that much anymore, or the stupid air primary. It's broken in a good way. And also it's like the one thing I can say that Stormblade really has to make fights end a lot faster. I would give this 2 thumbs up, but by the end of this video, they are no more. Now with everything out the way, it's time for me to give you my honest rating on Stormblade. Stormblade, I think, isn't that bad of a character, but I think design-wise, she just needed to be buffed a lot more. I was honestly shocked when, again, I say, the day after recording all this footage, my thumb actually like hurt quite a bit, and I don't think that is like that great of a thing to accomplish. So I definitely think some more damage should have been applied, because I'm only playing on hard and not even nightmare, so for things in there to die, your thumb might actually be eradicated by the end of it. I definitely think her top path is her best one. The bottom one does a nice amount of stuff for the daggers, but I think just having the dash do slow, 30 damage per hit, and also having that projectile buff, or projectile block I should say, it is definitely better than what the bottom one can provide. So I think design was good. I think she can be fun for like maybe 3 hours, but I think execution wasn't that great. So I'll give her a solid 2.5 out of 5. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Honestly Rated. Let me know what you think of Stormblade below, and also let me know what Skylander you want to see next on Honestly Rated. These videos come out every single Saturday, but if you want to subscribe to make sure you don't miss on one, that would be pretty cool. And also if you enjoyed this video, give it a like. I don't really ask enough for those, and it would be very beneficial for me. If you hate this episode, you can also dislike it. I can take it like a champ. And if you want to see any other Honestly Rated videos, there's a big playlist on your screen now. Thank you guys for watching all the way to the end. It does truly mean a lot, and I hope to see you and everybody else on the next one. Peace.